Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, and the mic is just getting warmed up as the Guardian of the Blue painter and writer is about to enlighten us. The show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. For this week's show, the Philadelphia Flyers' lazy days of summer. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers.
Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of the Hockey Writers Inc. As always, I'm your host, Lance Green.
And as always, riding shotgun is your co-host, SteelFlyers. And how you doing, Lance?
I'm all right.
You're doing all right? You're not melting in this. I mean, the East Coast has been under this like roasting oven temperature-wise for the last couple of days. And
yeah.
So you're doing all right? You're not melted or anything?
Some days have been extremely hot for sure.
Boy.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. It's been really sick around here. Feels like 100 and some degrees anyway. So speaking of feeling like and being really hot, how about episode number 87? That's right, episode number 87 for the Hockey Writers Inc. and the Philadelphia Flyers, the lazy days of summer. And this is one of those key points where you read the subcontext in the title.
Definitely fitting title. I really like that one. And I think it's finally one that all Flyers fans can really agree with. This offseason has been less than what we were led to believe it would be, for sure. And it's just as the title says, for sure.
I think that was a good portion of the inspiration behind it. But it was kind of also tied into everything that we were led to believe that they said they were going to do, but they haven't done. And the fact that they've known about this stuff since January of, this year, and they still, are, as of last Thursday, now just hired a power play specialist coach who, correct me if I'm wrong, the last power play that he coached was at 14.1%, and the Flyers are at 12.1%.
Hey, at least that's coming up there, right?
So it is an improvement by 2%, but that's not even the same kind of talent that was on San Jose. So we don't have the same kind of defense and same kind of power play here in Philadelphia. And if that's all you could muster out, and boy, that was a good hire.
we shall see, right? I mean, at least if the boys on the fourth line need some help, he can maybe jump the boards and go help them.
He still can play, I think, right? He's not that far removed.
I don't know. He can still fight.
Yeah, right. He can still fight. Yeah, right.
I mean, he tried to fight Evander Kane, right? So why not?
But he was
in the
coaching,
locker room,
though.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, but he was still coaching, though.
He's
a career AHLer, though, right?
Yeah.
Rocky Thompson, right? He didn't spend that much time in the NHL. He's mostly AHL.
He spent a little bit, up and down. Couple games here, a couple games there, yeah.
But he just doesn't roll off the tongue as a power play specialist, though, does he?
I don't think so. I think the pick for defensive coach was a little bit better there, supposedly. So we'll see.
Shaw.
Yeah, I hear a lot of good things about him. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, does it seem like it's not Tortorella picking the coaching staff?
I believe Tortorella had something to do with Shaw, at least.
Yeah, but does it feels like he's not picking the coaching staff, though?
I don't know. Who knows what?
Does it feel like he has any input into anything?
I'm sure he's going to have some kind of input for sure. He's still Tortorella, and he tried to back Fletcher up on.
Yeah, I
when
saw
they
that.
question that and stuff like that. So I mean, he's He's saying all the right things
Well, yeah,
now
he's the
and
guy
doing
that
all the
just
right
hired him,
things. So
so.
let's, yeah. So who knows? He was sitting in an anchor spot, so a couple weeks before that. So we'll see.
Fletcher was the guy that just offered him a 4-year, $4 million a year contract. So yeah, I'm gonna say he's a good guy. What do you mean you're criticizing this guy? He's doing good.
Right.
Sorry, I had a little bit of throw up there and come up to about here after I said that.
Little acid reflux. Yeah.
Yeah, little reflux there going on. Chuck Fletcher doing a good job. Okay, so let's ask that question. No, seriously. We've had the lazy days of summer. We've known that we've needed a coach since January. We've known we needed to be a quote unquote aggressive retool this offseason, whatever. And we didn't get any of that, did we?
Yeah, I hate to beat a dead horse on this too, but the thing you didn't mention was the fact that Johnny Gaudreau has basically said that he wants to be a Flyer for the past 2 or 3 seasons, and made it abundantly clear that when he hits free agency, he really wants a chance to play for the Flyers, and Chuck Fletcher didn't have the cap space, and he couldn't move the cap space at the last minute. This is something you should have been planning for the past couple seasons to leave open some cap space, or at least have some expiring contracts, which you would have with Claude Giroux, but you chose to
especially if you
give that away.
That you weren't going to re-sign Giroux, because they knew. Look, the writing was on the wall that Giroux, when he hits the time, see ya. I mean, the writing was on the wall for 2 years about Giroux.
I think it obviously was when you traded Voracek too, and did that. So, that was part of that big tenure here for a long time. So
exactly, you know what I mean. So, all right. Does this seemingly? I know there's a bunch of things that we want to talk about in the show, but there's a couple of things. I know we're getting off a little bit on the tangent here, but I just kind of want to ask some of these questions and kind of get your opinion on some of this stuff. Do you think that there is going to be too much pressure now on Couturier and Ellis to come back, and Hayes and Cam Atkinson to be the drivers of this team, to be the ones to, put it all together and be the ones? I mean, do you think that kind of puts that pretty much, to me, in my opinion, feels like it drops a lot of pressure on those guys, seeing as how we don't have a captain and, whatever. I mean.
Yeah, for sure. All those guys you just mentioned are nice pieces in my mind. They're not key players. They're not that banner unveiling guy that's going to hang off your building and people are going to drive by on the highway and say, hey, I want to go see that guy play. Couturier is a defensive center. Hayes is a guy that's been largely overpaid his whole career. And although I really like his style of play when he's healthy, he's not elite. He's not an elite.
He's not elite
player. Yeah. He's not, Connor McDavid. Let's face that. Or so.
Let's rephrase that. Mm-hmm. He's not a $7 million a year guy.
No, not at all. We've mentioned that many times before. Okay. He's well like overpaid.
$5 million a year guy. Then
I would say 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 5 million. Yeah.
He's being paid as if he is a first line center, and he's not.
He ain't.
And the defense is the same way with Provorov. He's paid as if he's an elite defender, and he's not. So a lot of guys are going to, or have been expected to be something they're not for a long time now. And this year is going to be no different. And now they have to play a whole season without Giroux and no replacement for Giroux. And that, same realm of talent.
So let's speak about that, because this was one of the things that we wanted to cover on the list of topics that we wanted to talk about. And I know we're kind of maybe not going in the order we said we were going to go in, but the trade that we got for Giroux was Owen Tippet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And am I correct in assuming that he is a restricted free agent as of right now and is not currently re-signed with the Flyers?
Right. He is a 23-year-old restricted free agent who could not file for arbitration yet because he hasn't spent enough time in the NHL. So I don't know why
he has to be tendered an offer.
Right. Like, I don't know why he isn't signed by that name. He doesn't even have the ability to dispute what the Flyers offer him right now. He's a restricted free agent. If somebody else wanted to offer him a boatload of money, we would have to match it still, but nobody's doing that either. So I don't know why he's still unsigned when the Flyers are choosing to sign other people instead right now. I think Owen Tippet is a player who showed last season could be pretty enticing next season if you put him with the right people.
More so than some of the players that have been
for sure
re-signed. I mean, even more so than Frost.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I like more of what I've seen of Owen Tippet in the 23 games that he played,
whatever
ish, right? 21 games ish that he played with the Flyers. I liked more of what I saw out of Owen Tippet in those 20 some odd games than all the time I've seen Frost play. Period.
Well, I think you could add a lot of names to that Frost category.
Yeah.
Your Tanner Laczynski's who was just re-signed. I mean, he's a 2016 draft pick who's, I mean, what is that, 6-7 years out of being drafted now this season. He's 25 years old and he has 6 career NHL games with 0 points. Like, I don't know why you keep beating the same drum and bringing back the same players.
Because then they re-signed Isaac Radcliffe too, right?
Yep, I know Laczynski was hurt. I know Frost has been hurt at times. I know, Allison has been hurt, who's still a restricted free agent.
Yeah. I mean, I always liked Tanner Laczynski's game. I always liked his game.
Sure. It just, has yet to transition to be an everyday NHL player. I mean, at best right now, he's showing that he could be a fourth line center and, to his abilities, which he's shown so far. But I mean, there's definitely, other guys like I really like Brown in that sense to be there this season and center that line. I really liked his style of play.
Yeah, I did too.
Last season.
I thought that was,
So I don't know. Like you said, Radcliffe as well. Radcliffe is a same boat as Frost. He was drafted the same year. Highly talented prospect when he was drafted, but has yet to transition it to be any sort of everyday NHL player. I mean, he's a 50 goal scorer that they threw out on the fourth line just to be a body and hit people. Again, with that same Flyers mentality of let's take this guy and change him from what he is.
Make him from what he was to something he isn't.
Like we said before, I think that's more of a Philadelphia mentality across all sports. So the Eagles tend to do that sometimes as well. So I don't know, but I do know if I win that $1 billion Mega Millions, I'm gonna try to buy Comcast and own the Flyers. Let's say that.
Well, you won't be able to, because the cash payout for that's only $630 million. So you're gonna have to take a loan out for the other $400 million.
I'll invest. I don't think the Flyers or Comcast in my mind is worth $600-700 million. So I think all Comcast people are a little tired of the prices and stuff too. So that's a whole another show we could have there. But,
oh my gosh.
yeah.
And I never thought about that, but like, yeah, if I won that much money, I might just buy the team and be like, okay, this is what's going on now.
Yeah.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You are definitely fired. You get out of here. Don't ever want to see you around here again. Get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We can dream, I guess.
We can dream. So, okay. So speaking of players that, we already mentioned that Tanner Laczynski was re-signed. And, I mean, this is another dome scratcher.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that the Isaac Radcliffe and the Morgan Frost are...
all those take priority over trying to bring back Owen Tippet?
Yeah, right? So that's why I'm scratching my head on this.
Your main piece that you got for, Giroux.
Giroux.
And you don't re-sign him?
Who... In my mind, from the little bit that I saw of him, right? Like, I think he's an orange and black guy all the way.
Oh, I definitely do. I like his style of play. He is a ginger, so of course he fits into that. He fits right into that. But as well, I think he did something and was noticeable every shift. He was on the ice.
Exactly.
He may have not scored all the time, but he had chances. And players that he played with on the line
got better.
Had chances because he was feeding the puck to them. So I think with the next season here and a chance with how horrible this team is to be able to play every night and an 82-game season without being yanked out all over the place back to the AHL, up and back and up and back. He's gonna be a consistent player on the Flyers next season, and I think he will be one to watch. I think he could easily score 15 goals if he plays with the right line mates. I really do. He
seems like one of those types of players where you have to kind of make sure that you are
got somebody. Yeah.
Paying attention when he's out on the ice because he's dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? And he might not be dangerous himself, but he's dangerous because he's going to make that play to get it to another player.
I mean, he's probably got one of the best shots on the team.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about right there. So let's sign a bunch of people that to me are, well, and you don't make this Owen Tippet a priority. That scratches my head.
That's a head scratcher.
The Nick Desaros signing really has me scratching my head, along with the re-signing of our favorite and your favorite Justin Braun. I mean, it's like you're bringing back the same guy that's been here for the last how many years, and what has he done? Seriously. And everybody is I hear this from all of them. And they all say, well, I don't have necessarily a problem with Braun being back because, if they use him as a third line center or if they use him correctly or whatever. And it's always followed by that. Mm-hmm. I don't mind him being back here if.
Right.
Well, I do mind him being back here because he's taking up a spot.
Yeah.
It's always an if. He's a third line defensive guy at best. He's old and slow. If you're already gonna be in the situation, see, this is why I'm so incensed by this, because this is that mentality where we're one or two steps away. Mm-hmm. So all we need to do is have that veteran guy back there. Yeah, he's a third liner. We'll use him sparingly. But as he turned out to be your second pairing or your top pair for your top defense, right, almost 3/4 of the season until you traded him at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, okay. I can't be the only one seeing this, right?
No. So I think your point there really crosses a lot of the topics that we have laid out otherwise in the show. So I mean, let's hit some of them off, and then we can see how that really rattles the Flyers' plans by making those subpar decisions to bring back the same kind of people.
You know, we've heard from other folks that there's one of the major things that needs to be going in the Flyers' direction is a lack of injuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that just hasn't been the case.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Ryan Ellis. We already know is going to be on long-term IR to start off.
I would definitely hope so, and that's $6.25 million.
Okay. So we're going to get to the money here in a second.
Right.
The next one that's going to be added to that list is Joel Farabee.
I would think so. He possibly could be back a little earlier, but with long-term IR, they have to be at least expected to miss 10 games.
10 games or 20
right.
days.
10 games or 20 days into the season, yes.
Right, 20 days or 10 games, whatever,
yes.
whatever.
First. Yeah.
Okay, so that's
and then there's one more. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At
least one more. So that's it. I'm looking for Joel at least to miss until December.
I think he'll come back hopefully before December. Hopefully, but who knows? If he,
right,
he could have a setback or whatever. Because I mean, this is not just a easy procedure. It's a slip disc, and then that could re-injure itself pretty easily. And I don't know. I don't want to wish that on him, but I hope he's able to come back. But
once you have something happen to you, you do become susceptible for that very same thing to happen again, because now that area is weaker. It's already been injured. Whatever. Okay. We don't even know what the time frame is on Ryan Ellis. We don't even know. We have no clue.
A lot of people are actually
I don't think he's ever going to play.
Suggesting that he might not ever play again.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to play. If you've missed an entire season and now still, after having a complete off season as well, and still not able to be, dude, and you haven't gotten a surgery, like, what's that worth? I mean, you not getting a surgery to fix something that is going to get you back to normal life, much less playing hockey. Do you know what I mean? Like, what kind of an injury that is allowing you to rehab for almost 2 years?
Yeah.
What kind of injury is that?
I have no clue, but I think that trade alone, that failed trade alone, being that, like we discussed previously on this show, you traded for a defenseman who, although good when he's on the ice, only played one season prior to you trading for him, where he played in all 82 games. So you knew he was
beginning at the beginning of his career.
You knew he was injury prone. He gets injured at least for 10, 15 games every season since every year, and you still traded for him. And then lo and behold, he gets injured again once he becomes a Flyer. He played just a handful of games, and he's now we're stuck with him for
games.
Now we're stuck with him for years and years and years. That trade alone, that failed trade alone, should have cost Chuck Fletcher his job, because now we are so pressed up against, and many others, but that trade alone is going to haunt us for years, and that's partially why we couldn't go out there and get a legit player, because we spent the money to better the defense and had to go out and spend any leftover money that we did have and getting D'Angelo to replace this guy.
So not to rub salt in the wound, but hey, let's add another name to that long list of guys that are going to be out for, and he's supposed to be out for at least 5 months, right? We're talking about Bobby Brink.
Yeah, hip surgery. Yeah.
hip surgery, right off. Like, not even a question. He's going under the knife right away.
Yes. Bobby is supposedly viewed as this team's top prospect as well. One that was expected to be able to stay with the NHL club and make a difference this year. As we kind of saw towards the end of the season, he did skate with a little pop, and I wasn't overly impressed with him.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I mean,
But I still liked Owen Tippet better. But he just coming out of college, so it's a bit of a transition. So I was willing to give him this year as a look, but now we're not going to see him for an extended period of time either, and that is 925K on the shelf.
right. And then
So
the Joel Farabee, that's because his new
5
contract
million,
kicks
yeah.
in this year, so that's another 5 million.
5
And that's another thing too, that is why I think we're up against the cap, is because Fletcher has overpaid players that he's brought in here, starting with Hayes. Right. I really, really think that not only did you give up a first round draft pick and Robert Haig and everything else for Ristolainen, but then you went out and re-signed him for a contract that I just don't think is too much.
Yeah, you got the Provorov deal, which he paid him as a number one defenseman. You got
that was
the
an overpayment too.
TK deal that he was on a downslope and you paid him pretty good money. I don't know. I still see a lot of problems with this. But here's my thought on this. With all of these players susceptible and all going full conclusion now that they're going to be placed on long-term IR, why not overspend in the sense where like teams like Tampa Bay does every year and does it wisely, to the fact that they can spend over 10% in the offseason over the cap limit. And day one, they have to be down, but they can also place the long-term IR on even before the season. It's really long and drawn out way to explain it. But I mean, Tampa Bay, if you look at the numbers, they were allowed a couple of seasons ago and stuff with Kucherov and everybody out. They were allowed to spend like $97 million in cap, because they had Kucherov already on long-term IR. They had Gabrick. They had the goalie Nielsen and all that. So they overspent. They had a lot of people. That was that was the season after. Yeah, that was just a couple of seasons ago. I was giving a
But when
description
Kucherov was out, so was Stamkos.
So right.
And
the next
Stamkos,
season, because Kucherov had been out a couple of seasons now.
That's what I mean. Okay,
yeah,
and then he missed time. He missed time last year, not this past season, but the COVID shortened season. He missed some time there too.
Right
at the end of the season, right? So,
but Tampa didn't let that bother them. They went out and spent that money.
They have people that know what they're doing.
Right.
Right. So, in those positions that are making those decisions, those people know what they're doing.
Exactly. So with the cap, it's $82.5 million this year. 10% of that is what?
$8.2 million.
$8.25 million, right? That's $8.25 million that they could have spent. That they could have spent. Now, tell me how in the heck they at least didn't go out and get my guy, Sonny Milano. Like
Johnny. We could have gotten Johnny.
I don't know, because at the end of the day, at the start of the season, you're going to have to find a way to be cap compliant. But you had the extra money to spend, and you had these guys that were going to be on long-term IR, two of which was pretty substantial amount of money. So you had the money, and if you really want to go look it up, you can really dive in and spend hours checking this out, which I have, but I'm not going to go into it on this show. Maybe if I were to do an article on it here in a little bit, but yeah, they could have spent some money over the cap and got a couple of players is where I'm getting at to help this club, knowing that Ryan Ellis, Joel Farabee, Bobby Brink now are going to be out, for a considerable amount of time.
Here's the thing that's killing me. There's still some big names out there left.
All right.
That could help this team. And I'm specifically speaking of Nazem Kadri. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, I know he won a cup and everything like that, but he would be one of those power play type guys, one of those guys that could come in, and be, I think, a help to this team. Okay? And he's a free agent. Yeah. All I have to do is offer. I mean, Owen Tippet is a free agent, so how about if we make sure we get him first? Right? You know what I mean? Okay, so now
Phil Kessel's out there still. I mean, he didn't have the greatest season. He's getting a little long in the tooth, but I don't think he would count anywhere or cost anywhere near as much as Kadri did. And to think that Kadri would come in here and be able to put up the same numbers with the less than stellar cast supporting him is a farce in my mind. So, I mean, but like you said, you still have John Klingberg out there from Dallas. There's some names out.
I mean, even
like
Holtby.
we said before, like last week, I pointed out, why not go out and sign, Holtby? He's a Stanley Cup winning goaltender. He did pretty decent numbers down in Dallas, and if you look at his career numbers, he has amazing career numbers. You still have Milano out there that played so well in Anaheim that they have so many prospects coming up the pike that they can't keep everybody. I mean, why not cash in on somebody else's problems, which are better than our problems? But
I mean, you know what I mean? They can't re-sign all their talented people, and we're doing is re-signing all of our two ways. It's like, hey, all right. Maybe because of the. I mean, seriously, maybe it's because the money is gone and because they just didn't do a good enough job of spending it or managing it. I mean, to me, when I think of a general manager of a team, I think of a guy that is somebody that picks talent and pays talent. Okay? And you rely on everybody else to tell you who to pick as far as talent. Because as a general manager, you can't have your hand in every single thing. I mean, you need to be able to judge good talent, I think, right? But you need to rely on your staff to give you the notes and to give you here's the tape on this guy, here's the tape on, this guy, whatever. This is what we think about this guy. What do you think? You watch the tape, you do the thing, and we like this guy. All right, cool. Let's go get him. Because now you have to be the guy that's going to have to write a check now to pay this kid. You know what I'm saying? And he just doesn't seem to know how to do that. Like, he doesn't get the idea of term and money.
Well, I think he's worried season to season, and maybe he should be because his career depends on it season to season, and I don't know why he's got as many chances as he has, but that's neither nor our decision right now. But a good general manager, like you said, is thinking 2 to 3 years ahead, like a Steve Yzerman or a Joe Sakic, who's been working on this team. He may be trying to win every year, yes, but he's also finding ways to totally bring in Carolina, same thing, totally bring in and let go a whole supporting cast, a whole goaltending, duo, and bring in 2 more guys and still be relevant and still win games. That is a true GM, even if you don't have the cap space, even if you're a manager of that. It's in your name.
It's part of your job description.
Right. So I don't get why, going back to the Johnny Hockey thing, I don't know how you can not be prepared or make room contracts wise to allow yourself the capital to spend when he comes available. He's told you for years in the media that he wants to come here. He told you before the start of this offseason, hey, I want to come there, but they haven't reached out to me. Is he the player that, we should have grabbed? I don't know, but
would it have been nice?
He is a superstar. He's a superstar. Nice. We needed a superstar, face of the franchise.
Okay. I'm with you on that 100%. Mm-hmm. I really am. I really do believe we need a guy that we can hang from the side of the building like mm-hmm. Giroux did. But this year, I don't think is the year to do that. And to be honest with you, mm-hmm. Would I like to see Johnny Gaudreau scoring goals for the Orange and Black? Yes.
Right.
But I don't think it's the right time for him. Because to be honest with you, he would come into a team where he wouldn't have the quote-unquote supporting cast. Mm-hmm. And you're coming into a team who couldn't even get to 62 points last year.
I get that. But it's a superstar that would be willing to, for some reason, he bumped his head and still wants to come here. He wants to come close to home. But that's neither here nor there. The thing is, last season, the Flyers Stadium was empty. And I've been watching this team for 35 plus years, and I have never seen the stadium that empty.
Me neither.
Okay? It looked like an Arizona Coyotes game or a Florida Panthers game when it's
they
85
started,
and
like
sunny.
In the 90s,
yeah. Well, I mean,
it was bad.
Then, but yeah, I mean, even that, currently when it's 95 degrees, a good, nice beach day, nobody's there in the day games. Come on, until this season.
I'll tell you how bad it is. Okay, one of my best friends, who, when I many years ago when I first started working in IT, and this was one of the guys that gave me my first shot working in IT as a contractor. And then I, got full time and whatever. So, but I'm still, me and this guy are like, he's one of my best friends. And I mean, I was at his daughter's wedding and, whole 9 yards, right? And I'm going to tell you something now. When I first met him, he was so diehard of a fan mm-hmm. that, he never missed a game. He would call me, right? We would watch the games together, and he would call me for first period analysis, right? So first period would come, and the phone would ring about a minute or so after the first period would end. And he's like, all right, what do you think? And I'd, rattle off, well, the team, da-da-da, da-da-da. And then he would say, yeah, da-da-da, 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 right? The second period would come, and the phone would ring after the second period. All right, what do you think? Now, you would think that this guy was really, was so in tune, knew everything, knew what was going on the whole 9 yards. To now, he hasn't seen a single game, not a single game, all the way through, from beginning to end, in 3 years. He said this year he doesn't even want to turn on the TV to watch a game.
And that's what I was getting at, for sure. Regardless, if you want to tank, you have to get somebody in wearing the jersey that is going to get at least the crowd excited to watch, to attend the game, to want to come there. You may go in the mindset of, we're still going to tank, but you got to have somebody that that people can get excited about. And there's absolutely nobody to get excited about. The best thing I'm excited about is the two Bash brothers that are going to be on the fourth line once they sign,
Hopefully, if
Zach
they
back,
sign,
so that's what I'm looking forward to this year, because there's not much else.
I mean, if you can't beat them, then beat them up.
That's my logic. That's right, the way I play it.
Seriously, though.
So, but right now, the current cap space the Flyers have is negative $98,000. So they still have to do something, and obviously they'll get that by cutting some players and sending them down to the Phantoms. But
and then the long-term IRs and all
the long-term IRs and stuff, they'll get there for sure. But that's where that 10% over expenditure would have been nice. But since they didn't do that, or since they still haven't done that, they still could. Who in your mind, am I asking here, could make the team out of camp? Since with all these injuries, there's going to be spots.
Wow. Will Elliott Desnoyers, will he make it?
I think he should. He's a left winger, 21 years old, great cap, $845K. I think he has nothing else to prove in juniors for sure.
I'm with you.
Is he gonna develop? I sure as heck don't want him to sit down in the Phantoms and rot like everybody else did for years. Since we all know they can't develop their own talent. So,
what do you think about? Do you think Zade Wisdom is gonna?
I would like to see it. If we're talking Brown gets injured like he did this year, I would at least like to see him come up and be that third or fourth line center. Maybe if Scott Lawton goes down. I really like that. Of course, you're going to have Tanner there, Laczynski, that is going to get a look beforehand. You got Jackson Cates, but I think that Zade Wisdom is better on all facets. I really think he should have came up that year. He was with the Phantoms.
I'm with you. I agree,
and at least been given a chance to play a game or two, because he's a gamer. He's 20 years old. I really think he went back this year after he got healthy and finished pretty strong.
Pretty strong, yeah.
Playing with Shane Wright and stuff like that in Kingston. So, good spot there. I'm interested to see if Forrester progresses. Tyson's got that huge shot. We all know that. He's got an NHL.
He looked really good in development camp.
Yeah. And he looked really good last season in development camp too, though. So
yeah, he did. I mean, he looked like more mature than what he is.
Yeah. He's 20 years old now too, so he's got an NHL shot. He's got an NHL frame to him. I don't know who else I would be excited about in that grouping. Zumala, if somebody comes up, but they re-signed some different players too that are probably going to block him once again from coming up. And Nick Seeler, I liked Seeler's game, but I think like Braun this season, he was asked to do way too much.
Like, I would have much rather have kept Seeler and just get rid of Braun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really like Seeler's game. I really think when he played like the Flyers do, he was forced to play his non-natural side. Yeah. So that's a downfall there. At times this season, he was made to play way too high up in the lineup and play way too many minutes and way too many games. Again, here's your saying, if he comes in and he plays what he's supposed to be, a call-up guy, a guy to help the young defense develop
that
down
seventh there, defenseman.
But they also re-signed Kevin Connington too, which is a head scratcher for me. I think he was he was a do-nothing guy that didn't really shine in anything that he did there. So I I don't know. I don't know why they keep bringing back the same guys and expect different outcomes.
That's the sign of crazy. TikTok crazy's coming.
But
All right.
here's the one player though that they do need to resign still is Zach Mcewen. Zach
I was just going
McEwen's
to get
got
to
a
that.
yep, he's got a date.
He's chose arbitration now.
He's
So
chose arbitration. His date is August 8th. So, he doesn't really have the numbers. He played well this season. I really liked his game. I really liked what he brought to the team. I think he's a Flyer through and through. But he doesn't have the goals or anything that's gonna make him be paid anything crazy price. So I'm not really worried about what he's gonna resign for. What I want to see is some of the other players around the league. Um, Arizona's got Lawson Krause that filed for arbitration. We all know I like him. 6'4", 215-pound, 25-year-old winger. Carolina's got Ethan Bear, a defenseman who's got an arbitration date.
oh, I like that.
I like him.
Yeah, buddy.
Punjabi's just re-signed. He had an arbitration date, but they talked it out beforehand, I guess. Nashville, I really like Yarkov Trenin. He's got a date coming up in the next couple days. Jersey's got Jasper Bratt coming up. So Pittsburgh, I believe, has Kapanen coming up as well. So
no, he's resigned.
He resigned.
He resigned. Okay. Yeah,
he just resigned. That's right.
2 days ago, I think.
Yeah, you're right. So there's a lot of people out there that maybe the NHL comes back and says a number that these teams, Jersey's got a lot of cap space, but some of these teams don't, or maybe they're not just willing to pay them that much, and maybe the Flyers could call and produce a trade to bring in one of these type guys. So that's just another, it's a long shot, but it's another way that the Flyers could still better this team if they were paying attention.
Or if they were watching the show.
Right.
Because, see, Chuck, listen, we do this because we're trying to inform. We do this because we're trying to give out the hard information. We're not sugarcoating things here. We're not, we're not making it seem like everything's all good when the rest of the house is burning down. You know what I mean? Like, right. We're calling it like we see it, and it's all about honest reporting and the straight up facts. And these are just the straight up facts. This is what we see. You know what I mean? And until I can sit down and have that conversation with Mr. Fletcher, and it doesn't seem like anybody's able to have that conversation with him. Nobody seems to want to ask those hard questions to him. Why is this team so bad? Why are you failing at your job? Look, I get it that it's a collective, that, he has to rely on a lot of people. But in the end, when the toilet is flushed, right, it all comes down to the general manager, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever it entails.
How many coaches is this for him now? There's been plenty. How many goaltenders we have that has the team went through in the past 20 years? There's a lot of, and he said this when he first came to the team, different things that have been addressed and readdressed again that maybe weren't the issue. Maybe it was something else. And, he talked a good game when he first came to town, but he's done nothing but develop the same issues, or has yet to solve the issues that were continue on in those and not done it themselves. So, when you're looking at a team like Nashville, who just re-signed Forsberg to $8.5 million, might you call when Yarkov Trenin gets a arbitration a good number for them because he was a very good player this past season, might you call and replace a guy like Farabee or what Bobby Brink should be,
Or Frost or
or
Radcliffe
Frost
or
or
pick
yeah,
one.
right, pick one. Bring back a little production and a little guy that's going to get some grit to him. That you said you want. So there's far too many options and different
Yeah,
things
there
that
is.
that other teams do. Like I mentioned about the cap spending, overspending, with the idea that long-term IR is going to take a couple $1 million off. Just and this, arbitration, is somebody going to be given a pretty good number? There's a lot of different options that you should be looking at, and I don't see Chuck doing these like other great GMs have or do every single season. And that's
I
why
agree.
they're there again and again and again.
They seemingly always make these bad deals or bad signings and give these players money that they shouldn't be getting paid,
Mhm.
right? And for such a long period of time that you basically you keep just kicking the can down the road of you ruining yourself every year because you keep signing these guys to term. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. Like, what are you doing? And not only that, you're giving them $4, $5, $6 million, $7 million. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Elite players aren't even making that kind of term and money. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, uh,
Well, I mean,
what?
it goes back to the cap era. The Flyers were a dominant team when there was no cap and they could spend whatever they wanted to spend and they could go out every free agency and bring in the big names. But what they have yet to do is bring in a guy in the GM role that understands with all aspects of it, how to survive and how to build a team in the salary cap era. And
Mm-hmm.
I've written about this in the past of some people that they should look at if they were going to replace Chuck Fletcher and Eric Tulsky with Carolina, and some different gurus of this cap era and how to do it. And you look at teams like Carolina who aren't even top dollar spenders,
No, they're not.
but they go out every year and subtract big names and allow big name free agents to walk and find your guys like your Ethan Bears, and your
Your
the
your
well,
Nito
all these guys.
Niederreiters and stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, all the guys that we essentially have, um, now they had D'Angelo last season. They paid him $1 million to come in. They took a chance on him, and they took Ethan Bear, and they had tons of guys, um, that they brought in, and they picked up and bought into the system and played fluently, in that role. And they subtract the same players every year, different players, and bring different pieces in, and they just work because they have a good coach and they have a general manager that understands how to not overspend, how to not give a bad contract
Yeah.
and walk and say, okay, I'm done chasing you. You're not coming. You're not willing to accept my terms. I'm going to move on and get to somebody else.
Yeah. And instead of
Instead of
doing that,
spending your whole
yeah.
time
Yeah.
chasing one player, and then the whole rest of the NHL is buying up all the good players to signing them to decent contracts, you spend all your time chasing one player.
And it wasn't even really worth it because you should be spending that kind of money on 3 or 4 other players because you have so many holes in your
So
roster.
many holes. So
You
many
know what I
holes.
mean? You need a backup goalie. You need this. You need that. You need this. And it's not a fiscally responsible thing to go get Johnny Hockey because he was going to cost so much money, and you have so many holes to fill that it just wouldn't make any sense. But more and more, though, it just seems to be coming back to lazy days of summer. And I mean that in
you
all
didn't do the legwork.
true
You didn't do the
sense.
legwork. Yeah.
You know, you've known about things for this amount of time, and you still haven't done it.
And you wait till the very last day or the day of everybody signing to try to move deals. Why didn't you do it at the draft? Why didn't you do it, upon you getting kicked out or whatever before the trade deadline? You didn't make but one significant deal in Giroux. You did some other little deals, but that
you
didn't
had
get you
to
anything.
because that writing was on the wall. And
Right.
and if you didn't do something with Giroux, he was going to walk, and you were going to get nothing.
Right. And you essentially got nothing anyway. So
I mean, a 2024 first round draft pick.
great. That looks like a second round draft pick in my mind because Florida is built to go. They went out and got the guy they wanted in Tkachuk. I don't know how they beat out
Man,
St.
I'll tell
Louis.
you what. I
don't know how they beat out St. Louis because he wanted to go play for his dad's team.
I know. Well, what I can't understand is they sent Wheeler and Huberdeau.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Huberdeau was up for the MVP.
Yeah. But what has Huberdeau done for them? In a sense, he's been there a lot of years. He's a good player, but just like Giroux was a good player here, he didn't raise any banners. He didn't win anything. He didn't bring any Stanley Cups to Florida.
And he dropped off significantly in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, all of Florida did
in
the playoffs this year. I mean, even Giroux, then hardly anybody was scoring. Of course, now they were playing up against some much better talent and teams this year, but whatever.
I think Tkachuk was a great
pretty savvy.
I would have gave up the same type of deal to be able to get a player of his caliber. I think he is a substantial all-star for quite a few years to come. He's still young. He's still in the prime of his career. He plays the game the right way.
Yeah.
He is hard-nosed. He'll stand up for his teammates.
Yeah.
And,
I would have loved to have had him.
He's an amazing, amazing player, and I'd rather have him over Johnny Hockey any day. Personally, because he's gonna hold up.
He has more upside.
And he's got pedigree. It's all.
And he's got pedigree too. You know what I mean? So, well, look, there's a lot of things that are still going on with the Flyers right now, with the arbitration and with things needing to happen, and all this, and we got training camp in September 28th or 26th or something like that is when training camp starts.
Yeah.
Right. So here we go. Right.
I think a lot of guys, unlike most seasons, I think a lot of guys are in the area now and have stayed around the area. And I think that
You've noticed that too, huh?
I think that is a good look. Yeah. And, Tortorella might be behind that. And guys know that they're going to have to prove themselves. They're not going to be just given a spot because of the name on the back of their jersey. They're going to have to earn it.
I agree with you 100%, but I think the one good thing that Tortorella, being the coach, is going to do is he's going to do that same thing that, Mike Ditka did with the 85 Bears. And he's just going to basically come in and be like, so you're not buying into the system. Well, it's been a slice. I mean, that's basically what I think is going to be the best thing about having Tortorella with the Flyers, is that he's going to weed out the guys that aren't going to buy in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said before, it was never – anybody can talk trash on Tortorella, but it was never their decision to really leave the teams or be asked to be traded. yes, they may have done that, but Tortorella decided he didn't want them before because of certain reasons. You look at, Pierre Dubois, whatever, he left and was crying the whole time. And what has he done really since he left? I don't think a whole lot, considering the hype that was behind him. Um, Patrick Laine, he may have a lot better season this year, but when he came to Columbus, he was all over him too, and rightfully so. He has all the talent in the world. He is one of the best players when he wants to be in the league.
And that's the key. That's the key. Yeah.
But that's why he was calling him out, because he doesn't play every game like he can.
Should, yeah.
And that's John Tortorella to a T. So hopefully he comes in and gets the most out of this team this year, because he's going to have to.
Oh, damn, exactly, because he's basically being handed a bag of pucks.
Some broken sticks,
and some broken sticks. I'm just going to be interested to see how that's all going to play out and go down and all that stuff. Well, Lance, I'll tell you what, man, we put together another good one, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of topics for it to be the off season. It's definitely some stuff to still talk
busy
about,
for us.
to think about. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's still busy for us, but it's still busy for you guys. So we would like to say thank you to you guys for all of your viewership. We would like to ask you to please hit the like and subscribe button. That helps things get moving, helps the channel grow, and that lets us know that you guys enjoy what you're watching. If you'd like, you can check us out on all of your podcasting platforms, from iHeart to Google to SoundCloud to Spotify to iHeart to Apple. We're on every single platform.
Amazon, you name it.
Amazon. All you have to do is type in Hockey Writers Inc. and our show will pop up. Hit the like and subscribe and follow us and give us 5 stars, and we'd really appreciate that. Lance, why don't you tell the folks where we can find you, and don't forget to tell them about the change in your Twitter handle as well too.
Right. So Twitter, you can follow me, and it is at Lance Green 39, the number 39 at the end. That is my new Twitter handle. If you guys haven't already followed me, please do. Tell a friend about the show. Guys, we just really, really appreciate all the love and support that we are getting.
For sure.
If you would like to have us answer any questions or hit on any topics in the coming episodes, please don't feel
drop
burdened by anything for us to reach out to us and drop us a line. Hit us up on Twitter or something, give us some questions. We would love to hear what you want to hear our thoughts on. That'd be great. Man.
We're going to try to do some live shows coming up where we'll be on live and we'll be able to do a little bit more fan reaction or fan participation. Sorry.
Right.
So we'll start to do some live shows here coming up in a little bit. Also, be looking to the website for some major changes coming up here really soon. The SteelFlyers All Sports Network is going to have a store where you'll be able to go to the store and purchase this T-shirt right here. That's right, a Hockey Writers Inc. T-shirt. You'll also be able to get a SteelFlyers T-shirt and a Pearl of Wisdom shirt where there will be frolic. And you got to check that shirt out, man. That's really slick too. So be looking for some updates to the website. We're also going to be making some changes where we're going to be allowing some articles to be written and put out on the website. And our head writer, Mr. Lance Green, will be doing most of all the writing. So, by the way, I'd like to let you guys know, if you do write and you do want to write and you do want to cover a team, hit us up, DM us, let us know. We're looking for people to contribute to the website as far as writing, as far as podcasting or anything like that. All you have to do is hit us up on Twitter, or you can send an email to contact@steelflyers.com. And we'll get your message right there, and we'll be able to check it out, and would love to see who's out there writing and what you're writing for. And it doesn't have to be the Flyers. It could be any other team, you know what I mean? So just let us know. Hit us up. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Just remember, check us out on the web at www.steelflyers.com. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.